thought that Execration could also try to deny all the mages away, but I think they're also kind of worried about that Hayabusa offlane, right? Or even Hayabusa core. Not too sure what's going on, but man, this is going to be exciting.
Yep, and here we go. Game 1 between EVOS, SG as well as Execration. Who's going to pick the first game? Gonna throw it over to you, your casters, Abstract and Jace.
Alright, game number 1 is now on its way as we are opening the portal into the land of dawn. Shall we descend down onto the mortal realm and watch these two teams duke it out? As of course, we're gonna be looking at Soul as well. Soul, which will be playing as the Esmeralda, fighting against Renzio, who will be onto the Lapu Lapu, all the way at the top lane.
I know why you're laughing, but I mean, Abstract, both of us casted way too long. We know what's going on.
Okay, we've had the talk previously just now. Is like what's best? Oh, what is better than styling on the opponents other than, you know, using your opponent's emotes against them?
And this Kelra brought it to a next level by using an EVOS Harif skin. Whoa!
My, oh my. We shall be looking at the bottom lane, speaking of Harif as well. He will be fighting against a Lunox. These two magical duo at the bottom lane, this is bringing back some good old nostalgia. And of course, down in the middle lane, we're going to be looking at Yves as well as Grok, while they are fighting against a Chang'e as well as this Jawhead. So let's break things down a little bit, coming in from EVOS SG's lineup. It does seem like their fighting style, their winning condition really revolves around picking out a single member, or that is mostly around the JPL as well as Pokemon's lineup. But in the meantime, I think that they are not going to be tossing Chaknu at all because of the power of nature. He does have some CC resistor.
That's right, JPL is not going to use the ejector on top of Chaknu. Really shows a lot of discipline right there now. Let's take a, you talked about EVOS SG draft, right? Let's take a look at Soul. Soul is an Esmeralda. Take a look at the Execration side. Shields from Kelra, shields from Renzio, shields from E2 Max as well. Basically, this is a playground for Soul.
He's gonna be pretty darn happy, but I'm not too sure how happy he would be as Chaknu actually managed to find himself fenced inside of his own wall as JPL managed to slide himself right next to Chaknu, tossing him right into the realm of Girl and Potato. Things are starting to look pretty darn good, especially since Potato does have the purple buff and Soul joins into the fray, trying to push Renzio right out of Turtle's way, ensuring that EVOS and his fellow friends will be able to get the Turtle. But they realize that, hey, we didn't manage to just bring down the Turtle while we wanted middle lane creeps coming in. Let us get some XP.
I would say that that was a small little tiny Execration win over to the side of EVOS. Once again, JPL will be able to chuck Chaknu all the way back. Soul coming in for the flank.
That is a massive amount of damage, especially since we are looking at Soul. It does seem like he is just stacking, well, stacking up all the shields on the Chaknu. He did almost get himself a really nice kill with the with the Falling Star Moon as well, but considering the fact that we are looking at a Grok, he's relatively tough. But the very fact that EVOS SG did manage to pull him down all the way to maybe about a 1/4 of a health within such a short span of time is great.
Oh, look at that! How Pokemon can just stand there and spam one button, whereas Kelra has his style. The EVOS skin doesn't actually pay off, but here we go, another fight near the Turtle.
JPL trying to get himself right out of the way, but unfortunately Renzio with the bravest warrior is just going to be getting himself right onto the heels of JPL. Unfortunately, a really nice flicker from him allowed him to get himself right out of the action. The Turtle is now going to be secured by the side of EVOS SG, and Soul survived throughout all of the team fight, survived throughout that 2 pursuit coming in from Renzio as well as Chaknu, as all of these micromanagement from each of these players as well as the domination from their own lane has managed to bring them with a total of 4-0, with a total of about 3,000 gold advantage.
Yeah, in that previous team fight, that Chak Mamba basically built a own wall that led to his own demise for the second time. The first time was when he basically got ejected over in the mid lane, and now because he placed that wall over there, bottlenecking his own team, and that is where the money shot coming up to take over to Destinata.
And speaking of Destinata, it's just going to be ramming every single one of the Destinata shot, sorry, Rhapsody shot right into the face of Chaknu. JPL followed right through with a really nice ejector on top of E2 Max as well. One shot after another. EVOS SG have yet to lose a single member so far, and they are pretty, well, aggressive, and they are very confident with the way that they are playing, because Execration, they are looking more slightly towards the mid to the late stages of the game. EVOS SG knows that they have to do something about this. Yet another wall from Chaknu! Oh, I guess this is where Chaknu's Grok doesn't really quite shine as brightly as his bouncing ball.
Seriously, someone eject Chaknu off. He is basically helping EVOS SG way too many times. This is the third wall that we count in this game that blocked Kelbra from actually retreating. So that is utterly crazy. And I always had trust issues, right? There's two heroes that give me trust issues coming into Mobile Legends, right? It's Jawhead, and you know me way too well. And the second one, Grok.
So it makes absolute sense, right? There is nothing that you can do except for the fact that you can buy the art potion, so you can do something about Jawhead, but you can't do anything about the wall that this Grok is able to put out. In the meantime, really nice engage coming from JPL, diving right under the turret. It will be able to successfully get a kill onto E2 Max, one of the most important players, because it deals a lot of magical damage. Boy, oh boy. But JPL, as well as the combination that Girl is able to bring out with the Meteor Shower, allowed them to get a fast victory over to the side of Execration's E2 Max. And while we are on that point, Execration did manage to successfully get themselves a total of 2 kills onto the heads of EVOS SG. So a start is a start.
That is a good kill, I would say, but Execration is not translating that into any form of objectives. The turtle is still up. EVOS SG, even though there were 2-3 members down, they still have initiative because of for the turtle, because of how Soul can set up all these very crazy flanks. Now EVOS SG will set it up, ejecting Soul all the way back. Chaknu dashes on in, try to come in to steal that turtle away, but it will go into the hands of EVOS SG.
The turtle, of course, getting themselves into the EVOS SG, while we are looking at every single one of the players kind of moonwalking whatever that they can. But we are pretty sure that we don't have that much Michael Jacksons in the in this universe. But one thing I would like to say right out is the very fact that, well, Execration, they can actually still hold out this game as long as they can, solely due to the fact that they are a late game composition, and as you can kind of see here, everything just kind of busting right out. My oh my, 7 minutes into the game already, and of course 9-3.
7 minutes in the game, 9-3. Take a look at the top side.
Oh,
Clean,
oh.
shaven.
No, we only lost like 20 seconds of game time, right?
That's right. The amount of push coming out from EVOS SG is just way too much for Execration to hold. Now, EVOS SG don't want to bring this game to the late game, because that's where all the Filipino teams will shine. Kelra is that ticking time bomb this time round.
Yeah.
So, EVOS SG, ideally, they want to take as much turrets as possible to force the issue and out-rotate Execration as much as possible.
Yeah, you've got a point there. But I think that what EVOS SG is... I don't think that EVOS SG is 100% too concerned about bringing themselves to the late game, because they have the possibility to just suffocate Execration out of their farm. Because so far, they've been getting dominance throughout the board, and they only lost a single turret down in the bottom lane. As long as they're able to get two more second-tier turrets from the middle lane and the bottom lane, they can even drag it out to 14 minutes, and the bottom and Execration will still have suffocated amount, and their amount of gold and net worth is pretty much bottlenecked. Yep. So it shouldn't be too big of a problem. Getting themselves 15 minutes or 14 minutes around there, 13, 14 is probably like the golden hour for them to end the game.
Yeah, for EVOS SG, don't forget the late game insurance comes in the form of Girl, comes in the form of Soul. Technically, Soul it's already scaled all the way up, but Execration will actually pull this trigger, will World Manipulation will go down, try to catch Soul instead. It's 3 members just to take down this one veteran player of EVOS SG. Renzio going in.
And of course, the nice wall is going to be one of the main things that managed to help them to get a kill down to the Soul. Renzio suffering quite a little bit of damage coming from the side Potato. Another nice wall that Chaknu did manage to bring up. So that is 3-4-2. Chaknu still need one more to kind of tally things out and ensuring that those walls are for instead of against of Execration.
Yeah, but EVOS SG, I feel like Execration needs more than that. Because if you take a look at the top side of Execration, looking very low, JPL will get caught. Zaman falls land down.
And of course, it doesn't seem like the wild charge coming in from Chuck New did manage to send him flying. But Potato, not only was one person flying, one person was sent down onto the ground, face flat onto the earth. And that is going to be Kelra's EVOS skin. So it's really unfortunate for Execration when they have lost the very big Harif at this very point in time, because we do have the Lord that is currently being executed by EVOS SG. I don't think that Execration should challenge this, to be honest. They can kind of buy a little bit of time here and there, but not exactly directly challenge it. Yup, that is good.
We saw moonwalking earlier just now. Lord did a bit of moonwalking now. Every form of time that Execution buys is going to be beneficial because look at the top bottom lane. But here comes a bit of a team fight happening.
Girl tries to get himself away. The Bravest Warriors, sorry, not Bravest Warriors, but it does seem like KLV is just trying to get himself right onto the backlines. But unfortunately, the EVOS SG, they retreated themselves in a really nice and timely, orderly fashion in order to try to suffocate out KLV. But it didn't really quite go that well for EVOS because they not only did they not get a kill onto the slippery Benedetta, they have also lost their core, Potato, on that very own team fight.
Yeah, equalizing the gold count, it is Execration. Looking at the items, you can see the BOD being slowly built up by the side of Benedetta, whereas in the counterpart, the Hunter Strike, the Brute Force, the Arrest Play, and now Execration has initiative on top of the Lord.
And the Lord actually does a pretty decent amount of sweep damage all around the board. As JPL gets himself flying in, I think that he wants to go for the ejector onto KLVJ, but he did not quite land that out. And the Lord has been slain down by Benedetta immediately and swiftly gets himself right out of fray. We do the Zaman Force currently being dropped down by Kelra. He successfully gets himself a single kill, while Soul on the other hand gets one onto Lapu Lapu. Two men down from the side of EVOS SG, while now rest of Execration and the rest of EVOS SG will then move themselves far apart from one another, because the previous team fight, it was a devastation for the side of EVOS SG. They lost two members, they lost the Lord, and now they have to suffer from the charge from this Lord. Not exactly a charge, since this is not an empowered Lord after all.
Yeah, and you know, there are teams out there that just want to watch the world burn very quickly. Execration, as well as Blacklist, they are the teams that could watch paint dry, and they're actually paying off as they are dragging the game even longer. Take a look. Not only they equalize the goal, they're actually starting to get a bit of gold lead. Of course, that's also due to the fact that they took down that Lord, and now EVOS SG, they cannot give away any kills. They need all hands on deck to try to defend this Lord that's marching down in the bottom lane.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence about that one, because if Execration actually make one wrong step, whereby every single one of their members were to be killed, EVOS SG still have a potential to be able to bring down a single one of the inhibitor turret. But in the meantime, speaking of inhibitor turret, it does seem like they're going to be fighting at the bottom lane inhibitor turret, while the Lord currently getting smashing down. We do have the power of Order Brilliance currently being popped up by Pokemon. He's still all nice and healthy, while JPL's HP is all the way down to a critical point of health. He can't have him to push right into the hearts of Execration to try to drive any more narrative of pushing anyone closer into the EVOS lineup. So they have to back themselves off. But back to the topic, right? I was kind of talking about Execration. If they do something wrong, EVOS SG will still get a chance to bump right into the inhibitor turret.
Exactly. We saw that happen during the downtime.
Yeah, it will be fast.
It will be extremely painless death for Execration. However, if EVOS SG were to mess up any form of rotation,
the same thing will happen to them.
Same thing to happen to them. So you can see how these two teams are balancing on this very fine balance. It could tip to any way, just one microgram over to the other side.
The fortunate thing is that Execration, they don't really quite play onto their wombo combo unga bunga kind of thing going on about,
what
right?
Abstract lives for.
Yeah, just saying unga bunga. But yeah, the same thing lies, right? Execration, they don't go for that. They just kind of go for picking off. We pick this one off, we pick that one off, we jump onto the back lines, we try to kill everyone from back to front or front to back, whichever works. While EVOS SG, they are kind of doing the same thing. They do have Soul with a really large AoE kind of lockdown when it comes to the Falling Star Moon. We do have Girl with an amazing creep killer, and also just whittling down the opponent's HP as fast as possible with that out of it. Pokemon can do the exact same thing with Darkening, and when it comes to the rest of it, they are a powerhouse in terms of melting someone down.
I'm not too sure whether Chagnu's wall was good, but if you think about it, they're trying to sync up the wave. They're trying to make sure that Execration is crashing all 3 lanes all together. Now here comes a potential teamfight. If JPL actually ejects the right person, now the wall will go down. 82 max and our real world manipulation. That turret is forfeited.
Yeah, this is most likely what they wanted to do, right? Trying to force every single one of EVOS SG back away from their turret, but unfortunately a little bit too slow because, well, Girl was there. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure what they actually did, but I think the main point goes over to Potato with his Rhapsody damage. They just constantly and immediately melted down the entire wave, and Execution couldn't even get themselves the second tier turret. So props over to EVOS SG. They defend the second tier turret really well.
Yep, at the same time, JPL will probably get picked off right here. Chagnu already there, trying to spin, but JPL will walk away. Now, EVOS SG, they're splitting it up. They're trying to make sure that they're doing the same thing, syncing out the waves as much as possible. Make sure that Execration cannot clump up in one team fight, because EVOS SG, they probably realize the only way they can take this Filipino team down is to split them apart. Don't forget, Lord has spawned, and this allows EVOS SG to basically try to take initiative, or hopefully someone gets picked up by JPL.
It will be tough in order for that to happen because Chagnu is always overextending himself. He is just right in front of his own teammates' lines and ensuring that he have eyes on his opponents.
Scouting.
Yeah, he's just really scouting whatever he can. And JPL will only ever see Chagnu because Chagnu would just tail and tail and tail into JPL. And his fellow teammates would just have to go to the exact direction in order for JPL to not catch up to any one of them.
Okay, I like this call coming out from EVOS SG. They saw 2 members of Execration on the top side. They called for the trigger, they called the pull, and then immediately once Execration, the Kelra as well as Keith disappears from the map, EVOS SG, okay, we gotta back off. It's so finely balanced right now, but it's slowly tipping towards Execration because they have a pushing bottom lane. EVOS SG don't really have any way of pushing, but here comes Soul with the flank.
Do you know that Kelra also have the concentrated energy, so he can pretty much just jump in and just wreak havoc with the Zaman Force. Exactly, speaking of that, we do have Zaman Force as well as the real world manipulation just currently being popped up with Pokemon being the first one to just immediately being popped right down. JPL with less than half a HP and Potato at the bottom part of the map, constantly being tailed down by Renzio as he managed to constantly just bring out the world of pain over the Potato without losing a sliver inch of health. While Soul currently having their back against the wall, he needs to run away from this Benedetta. And every single one of these members from EVOS SG, they had a great start, but when it comes to the later stages of the game, Execration have literally got their feet planted onto the ground because this is very likely going to be the last fight that we will ever see here, because the Zaman Force is just going to be popped right up and just going to be the first kill being pumped over, while JPL just going to be using up his immortality, while all of them tries to rush back into the base and heal as much as they can. It is going to be a 5 versus 3 setup, maybe even 5 versus 4, because Pokemon just coming right up in 1 second time. The real world manipulation pops right up with a sliver, not really a sliver, but a critical amount of HP left onto the core itself as Renzio left the sliver of health. He goes down to the hands of Pokemon with the Chaos Assault, and now we do have Execration just going to be pushing themselves right back home. Although they have done a great job, they do not need to rush for this finish because they know they do have the late game advantage.
Yeah, and we talk about this. Execration, they were so close for the GG push, but EVOS SG, their defense is solid, and I have to give it over to Girl as well as Soul. They're just making the dream work. They're so tanky now. EVOS SG, they're going to use the Meteor Shower to actually take down this Lord, but the Lord has been stolen by Execration.
Completely stolen now. That is definitely, absolutely not something that EVOS SG will definitely want to the name. We do have the real manipulation as well as a triple kill from the side of Kelra. He is done. He is enough with whatever EVOS SG have got for themselves. And there we go. Even a Maniac being paused, or rather passed to his head. And the last man remaining is gonna be Girl. He's fleeing away, running away, ensuring that he do not even give that Savage over to the side of Execration. This lone Chang'e will not be able to do anything against the wrath of the Lord.